Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. Thank you for joining us today. Merci de vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui, and thank you to Oliver Boulette for the beautiful Métis fiddling you have just played for us. My name is Dr. Evan Adams from Tla'amin First Nation near Powell River, Kathet Region in British Columbia. Aje chep utams je aje, imotath kwananape, imotath kwal chechehatanapesht. It's an honor to serve as a co-host for this special gathering. I also continue to serve as an honorary witness to the work of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. And before we begin, as a reminder, there are mental health supports here, if they could raise their hands, as some of our presentation today could be triggering for some. The TRC has provoked a continuing and sometimes controversial conversation about the meaning and even the possibility of reconciliation. But today, we gather from far and wide for a common purpose and to mark an historic moment in our shared history. But first, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our Governor General, Her Excellency, the Right Honorable Mary Simon, our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit survivors, please stand as today is for you. Representatives of the parties to the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement, fellow steering committee members, and other honored guests. We are here to proclaim our gathering place, this place here, as a sacred site. Il s'agit d'un moment historique dans la mise en œuvre du monument national sur les pensionnats autochtones. Today marks the first milestone towards the creation of a national monument for Indian residential schools.
My name is Tracy Denniston. I am Inuk from Labrador, what we call Nunavut. I am standing here as a child of parents who attended residential school. As an intergenerational survivor, I inherited the legacy of those schools.
Good morning. I am Georgina Liberty, a Red River Métis citizen from Winnipeg. We all want to make sure that residential school history is never forgotten. I am proud to co-host this moment with my colleagues from our National Residential Schools Monument Steering Committee. We'll introduce you to our other committee members as we continue.
But first, we acknowledge our presence here on the unceded lands of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We call on our colleague and elder, Claudette Commanda, to welcome us to her territory and to center our spirits.
Kwe kakina. Kwe. Miigwej kakina. Miigwej kibijayeg oma nongum. Pijajik oma Anishinaabe eki oma maweniniwag. I begin by acknowledging the ancestors of the Algonquin people, our ancestors. And we give thanks to our ancestors for being here with us today and always. I acknowledge my family, the Cote family, who are here from Kitaga and Zibi, and they are survivors of residential schools, Indian residential schools. I welcome each and every one of you beautiful people to the homeland of the Algonquin people, this beautiful, unsurrendered, unceded homeland, the homeland that the Creator blessed us with, the homeland that we must ensure will be here forevermore for our children today and tomorrow. As I acknowledge the ancestors of the Algonquin people, I acknowledge the ancestors of all Indigenous peoples from coast to coast to coast here in Canada. I acknowledge each and every one of you, your ancestors. We prayed for this day. The survivors prayed for this day. Those children that did not make it home prayed for this day. The children that continue to remain in those graves prayed for this day. And today is a beautiful day as we thank our grandfather, the sun, for bringing his warmth and to bless us. As we give thanks to our mother, the earth, for all that she provides. And as we thank the Creator for his love and his guidance, and we say, Chimi Gwech Kishiminado Kinakego. We pray that the world will understand the beauty of resilience and survival. And we pray that Canadians will understand and open their hearts and show their love for our people, for those survivors, First Nations, Inuit, Métis. And may we walk this road together in healing, with kindness, with love, and respect. And we must do this together in this moment of prayer, in this moment of history that we are making. We must do this together for the children, for all the children. May we never forget those beautiful little voices, and may we never forget the survivors who continue to share with us their strength, their truths, and their resilience. Chimigwech. And let us together put our hearts, our spirit, and our voice as one, and let us give thanks to the Creator by saying, Chimigwech Gishiminado. Let's say thank you together, please. Miigwech. Thank you. Miigwech.
Nakumik Elder Commander. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada call for a national monument for residential schools. Former TRC Commissioner Dr. Marie Wilson now serves with us on the National Steering Committee for the monument. I welcome her now, along with fellow former TRC Commissioner Dr. Wilton Littlechild.
Merci. Dagonte. Bonjour tout le monde. I'm very happy and honored to be standing here with my fellow Commissioner, Chief Littlechild, and we want to begin by drawing your attention to the empty chair here in front of us. As we did throughout our Commission's work, it is there to remember the little ones who never made it home from residential school. We honor the memory of thousands of children who died at those schools and the tens of thousands who have passed already before ever getting to see this day. And I honor all survivors throughout the land, those with us here today, and the many thousands that are in every region of our country. Il y a 8 ans ce mois-ci, notre Commission de vérité et réconciliation a publié ses 94 appels à l'action. It was 8 years ago this very month that our Truth and Reconciliation Commission released our 94 calls to action. Today, we're here to report early progress on call to action number 81, the call for a residential schools national monument. Nous sommes ici pour faire état des premiers progrès réalisés sur l'appel à l'action numéro 81, l'appel pour la construction d'un monument national sur les pensionnats autochtones. But today's story does not begin with our Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It did not begin with us. It began with those survivors, 80,000 of them, who launched a massive court case with the support of their national Indigenous organizations. The survivors who challenged the Canadian government and Catholic and Protestant churches for the residential school system they set up and ran for more than a century, and for the harms they caused to generations of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis children and families. The survivors won the case. They agreed to a settlement, and a new relationship with those they had sued, Canada and 4 national churches. Together, they became known as the parties to the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement, and it was the largest out-of-court settlement in our country's history. Within that agreement, survivors also negotiated the creation of our Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And throughout our TRC work, which Chief Littlechild and I led together with our fellow Commissioner, Murray Sinclair, who could not be here today, but we collaborated together with all those parties to the settlement agreement. We acknowledge all the parties among us today through your various representatives. We name specifically former National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, Phil Fontaine, who led the legal battle, and we acknowledge and name Mary Simon, now Her Excellency, who at the time was in partnership with Phil as the head of the Inuit Tapiri Kanatami. We acknowledge today's president of ITK, President Natan Obed. And we acknowledge the representatives present and past leaders and elected leadership within the Assembly of First Nations, Inuit Tapiri Kanatami, the Métis National Council, and the Manitoba Métis Federation. We acknowledge as well the defendant parties to the settlement agreement as we sit together here today. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau representing the Government of Canada for the people of Canada, and the representatives of various Catholic and Protestant church entities, including the Oblates and the Jesuits who are here today, and representatives of the Protestant churches, the Anglicans, the United, and the Presbyterian. Call to Action 81 very specifically calls on the federal government to collaborate with survivors and all parties to the agreement in creating a prominent residential school national monument, and we truly appreciate your presence here today. Survivors told the TRC repeatedly that they wanted the world to know what happened to them as children, and they want this country to never forget. I and my former commissioner colleagues, in making this call to action, have hoped that a national monument will help Canada keep that promise to yesterday's residential school children for the sake of all our children today. Merci beaucoup. Miigwech masicho kwanami.
My apologies to Natan Obed, President of Inuit Tapiri Kanatami, for not acknowledging you at the top of our presentation. I'd now like to ask some other steering committee colleagues to join me at the podium. Survivor Doris Young, Opaskwayak Cree Nation from Manitoba. Survivor Kokluke Terry Brown, Tahltan Nation from British Columbia. Survivor Madeleine Basile, Atikamekw Nation from Wemotachi, the Quebec. And Reverend James Scott from this Ottawa region. Before the steering committee began, some of us were also part of an earlier workshop team that set the vision and purpose for the National Monument. Its look, its feel, its purpose. Que voulons-nous qu'un tel monument nous dise? Let's hear what this monument is meant to be.
Kwe madenen dijin kazun. Awideki bejin kadis no kum, no moshum, nigawi, no tawi. Nimshta gje shterten uda. Wahe kabeg jigak. Ke nugu mezik Denise, Raoul. Migwet Denise, ekibejain uda. Raoul, migwet kek skina udan daok. Kakibe, tabuerte que correr, esterte gigal à noite. Awashak uchi uda ke nimkwermok. Nhe gebe hashtag nuk nen wudin uda agaskat gduni kadek. Nhe kakiben geshkma kuhe agaskat debe toguk nhe minot. On voulait que le monument dise aux enfants, à tous les enfants des pensionnats, tous les enfants perdus dans les pensionnats, on ne vous a pas oublié, vous êtes toujours présents dans nos cœurs, vous êtes toujours présents dans notre mémoire et que nous vous aimons. Saghi dawin gishigaw anot, saghi now. Agudetsa, mi gwet saghi now, gwet.
Everyone looks so beautiful. Danse gina nas komiti now. Mas kami pinasis ko antis ni gason ames do them. Menani tena notes utai type kanig asamen utani payag. E piano mutta maga magegano magagi Hispanic uhag kayas. So my name is Doris Young. Our vision for this monument is to create a sacred place for remembrance of all children who were lost to their families and communities, and for honoring the Indian residential school survivors. It is so important that the truth is told about the atrocities that happened to us, and that there is a place for us for this to occur on a long time, permanent basis. The Indian residential school system tried to take away our languages, our spiritual laws and practices. This monument should be a place where all First Nations, Métis and Inuit can gather to honor survivors in a spiritual way that is consistent with our laws and cultural practices. Then Naskuman.
Good morning. The monument will also remember all of us who survived the Indian residential schools, and those of us who did speak up and wake up the nation. Long after we are gone, an enduring monument of honor, courage, and remembrance will make sure that what we lived is never forgotten. Madu Masicho.
We join with survivors to ensure that this is a perpetual sacred site. It will continue the spirit of reconciliation by speaking to the world, by teaching children, by healing individuals, and by transforming lives and relationships.
Merci, chers amis. Thank you all for your great visioning work. As a Red River Métis citizen, it is important to me that all survivors' voices are heard, and I'm glad to be able to contribute to this as a steering committee member. I would now ask the following fellow committee members to please join me to tell the next part of our story. Stephanie Scott, representing the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation in Winnipeg. Survivor Eugene Arcand, Cree Elder from Saskatchewan. Survivor Jimmy DeRoche, Métis Elder from Saskatchewan. Survivor Doreen Bernard McMaw from Nova Scotia. Survivor Navalik Tuluganak Inui Nuk from Nunavut. Gina Wilson from Kitigan-Zibi, representing the Government of Canada. And I would ask Algonquin survivors Ernie Cote and Jackie Cote to please come and join us as well. Come stand with us.
Our job as the National Steering Committee is to turn the vision of our colleagues that have already talked about into a reality of a national monument. The call to action said the monument should be in Ottawa, which is here on unceded, unsurrounded Algonquin territory. Guided by our committee elders, we started our work according to traditional protocols by consulting with the Algonquin Nation. Based on this, we chose this very site where we are standing now as a sacred place where the national monument will be. Miigwech to the Algonquin Nation.
Morning. Kakio pogo ego tagaya te tamsko. Nas komaga ma te beitse geto mai peto tai waguta. Koeso mai goeta ka mixia. Nas komanan. Ramamo te beitse get. I acknowledge all of you who are here today, and I acknowledge the Creator for bringing us all together. I acknowledge the dignitaries who are here. Most of all, I acknowledge those young people who are here to bear witness on this history-making event this morning. The Creator has provided us with a window to talk about Canada's darkest secret. You are bearing witness to a precedent in this country. There are 29 monuments on this piece of land. And this is the first time in history that the Algonquin people and the people of Kitigan-Zibi have been engaged in this process. While this window is here, I want to encourage this government and future governments to conduct the unfinished business in regards to those 29 monuments and retroactively engage in a symbiotic relationship with the people of Kitigan-Zibi and all Algonquin people. And any future monuments that come to this piece of land first engage the original peoples. Today is a special day for us, and I want to acknowledge my fellow steering committee members, both settlers and the residential school survivors, for their mental and spiritual toughness in overcoming the obstacles and barriers that were put before us for this site selection. I thank the PMO's office, the courts, and all those involved in understanding true sharing and learning of the dark history, the dark era of this country. I give you thanks, all of you. Hi, hi.
Niistä minä naskum tänä auja osuutta kapi tuhti ikigoh. Mistä hegi goioma. Ika kuisihtsigi ahota. Ika wihkaatstavan kiskiakan ika waassak. Kagimskahtsak. And I just wanted to first of all acknowledge Governor General that's here today, and thank you so very, very much for being here. It's a very important for the survivors that are here. And I want to acknowledge as well the Prime Minister that's here as well. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. And my name is Jimmy DeRocher, and I'm a Red River Métis. I'm a veteran of the Royal Canadian Air Force, and I'm a day school survivor, 10 years. And we need to try and do something. I've got to make a plug for Isle Lacrosse, because we need to settle Isle Lacrosse. And those people that are here that can make that happen are here today. So it's very, very important. I've got to mention that. And I want to acknowledge, of course, our elder, Commander, that's here today and that's led us in a prayer. Thank you so very, very much. And I want to thank you as well. And we want to tell you that we honor and thank the Algonquin relatives and for welcoming us here and for allowing us to establish this monument on their traditional unceded, unsurrendered territory. And it's important that we work as a team, that our survivors that are here today looked at this whole thing, and we tried to look at this thing from a simple point of view. What has happened to our people over the years, and you know, the effects that it has, not only then, but now as well, and into the future as well, because this is not finished. This business of finding unmarked graves is not done yet. There are, the last count, over 10,000 children were found in unmarked graves. Now that is a history all Canadians need to acknowledge. They need to know the truth. The truth is sometimes very, very difficult. I know it's hard for me. I'm an elder. I'm 83 years old. And I find it very difficult that something like this could happen to us here in Canada. But it happened. But you want to know the positive side of it? We're still here. We are still here. And it's important for us as well to remember one thing. We need to continue to be vigilant. Because not too long ago, approximately a week ago, 2 weeks ago, there was deniers in Canada, I think Western Canada. They were digging up graves because they're denying that these things that we're dealing with here today really happened. So there's deniers amongst us. We can't relax for one moment. We need to continue being vigilant, and we need to finish the job that these children that are here with us in spirit today, they want to go home. Very, very simple thing. They want to go home. They shouldn't have never been kidnapped in the first place. I know that's a harsh word, kidnapped. That's exactly what happened to so many of us. So it's really, really important that we continue to be vigilant, try and resolve this issue. And I want to thank the Algonquin people again for allowing us to be here to set something up, not only for today. I don't want to see just a monument. I want something in there that will include educating our Canadians so that these things don't happen. There's no need for that kind of stuff to happen in our country. And I ask each and every one of us to be very vigilant and to remember those children that are here with us today in spirit. Thank you so very, very much for listening to me.
We also thank Algonquin Elder Fred McGregor for leading us in such a beautiful ceremony last evening to bless this land, the water, and all the elements for this sacred site. Thank you.
Can you see me? I'm so short. Ulakut Meli, Kwana Ilaugavit, Kwana Kaigafi, Nancy Irene, Mika, Ingutan Nuin, Kwana Inuit Ilaugamik Hamunga, Kuberhuk Tunga Kaigafi. Good morning. I'm from Cambridge Bay, Nunavut, and I'm part of the steering committee that's leading this historical morning to set the site of the monument, which will represent the Inuit survivors, those who have gone and those who are still here, and for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren to come and be welcome to a special place. Puigok tailugit, dakot, tiguyaw yun. Uvagot, tamapta, tigugawagapta. Yalunaimon, inuvingmon, nanilikya, humilikya. Puigok tailuhe. The call to action said the monument should be publicly accessible. That's really important to make it a special welcoming place for survivors and anyone who faces accessibility challenges. There.
It was a great honor to be the federal representative working and laughing and crying with this beautiful committee. L'appel à l'action a aussi déclaré que le monument devrait être très visible, comme ici à Ottawa. And so the decision makers of this country couldn't miss it, and they would be reminded of their promises to do better. Those of us who live and work here know that this is a perfect location to achieve that. And now I want to introduce David, who is the honorary witness to the TRC.
Thank you, Gina. When I became an honorary witness to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, I made a promise that I would keep sharing the word to non-Indigenous peoples like myself. That truth and reconciliation is it's about all of us. Having such a visible national monument will help spread that awareness to all citizens and visitors to our national capital.
Thank you, fellow committee members. All our efforts have been aimed at the new generation of children and youth. We want to know better so they can do better. We want them to have happy childhood memories and to feel safe and proud of who they are. I now invite the children and youth, Rose Fort, Jesse Schultz, Quil Nottaway, Cote, Rehan, Tuleb, Saeed Abdul Malik, and Evan Rahul Chantra to join us on stage to share the special moment with us. We know that it is you, the children and youth, who will carry our vision forward into the future. As you come up, let's all appreciate the talented Alicia Cayley, Anishinaabe, and Talton vocalists from Ottawa who will be performing Rise Up and Andre Day.
Sorry, it's the wrong song. Rise Up by Andre Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Rose, Jesse, Quill, Rehan, Saeed, and Evan. And thank you, Alicia, for gifting us with your beautiful voice. I would like to take a moment to thank the many parliamentarians who are also here, the many members of parliament, the cabinet ministers, and senators. Thank you for being here with us today. I now want to call upon someone who is already a part of the Truth and Reconciliation story in Canada, long before we got to this day of talking about a national monument. Our special guest is my fellow TRC honorary witness and Canada's very first Indigenous Governor General. Please welcome Her Excellency, the Right Honorable Mary Simon.
Ulakut. Good morning. Bonjour. Sibulimi inutitut uhakaro mayunga. Ulumi dana ilitaksinyo yok ilisareaktitaw hatta tuvinomnik pimmageumat ammalu tamakwa ilniareaktitaw hatta simayuit takkanimata angak simangisuti aulatitaw hatta simayut Ulumi ilitaksijabut ammalutan nalunertaw langamman. Prime Minister, elders, elder commander, survivors, and dignitaries and distinguished guests. Before I begin, I would also like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people who have lived and cared for this land for thousands of years. These acknowledgements are steeped in meaning and reflect Canadian respect for the journey of reconciliation we are on together. It is an honor to join you for this historic announcement. C'est un plaisir d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui. I am here as the Governor General of Canada, and I am also here as an honorary witness of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a commitment I've had since 2014. It's a commitment to bear witness to the truth told by residential school survivors and to share what I hear and learn. It's a commitment I've honored and will continue to honor for the rest of my life. Throughout my life, I've listened, watched, and acted. I witnessed the lack of quality services and education for Indigenous peoples. I have spent my life fighting for Indigenous rights. I witnessed the apology 15 years ago delivered by the Government of Canada right here on Parliament Hill. I was honored to represent Inuit and deliver a reply on their behalf. As Governor General, I witnessed the apology by His Holiness Pope Francis to Indigenous peoples in Canada on their land for the pain caused by residential schools. And I have witnessed the beginning of a renewed relationship between the Crown with His Majesty, the King, and Indigenous leaders. I am here to bear witness once again. Today is meaningful for Indigenous peoples across Canada because we're showing our commitment to honoring the lives, stories, and memories of those who survived or those who lost their lives at residential schools. Today, we show them as a country that they are not and will never be forgotten. This morning, we were gathered to honor every child who attended a residential school, every Indigenous person who lived with the trauma, every family that experienced and still is experiencing intergenerational trauma. But we're also honoring the resilience of Indigenous peoples, the survivors, the advocates who would not be silenced, and who tell the truth of our history. This national monument is not the end of our journey, a journey for Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples towards understanding and healing. Healing, like reconciliation, is a process. It's a journey, not a destination. It takes time. It begins slowly, softly, carefully. It follows its own path, carrying us forward, but also in many other directions. Eventually, healing takes us beyond powerlessness or anger or pain. It takes us beyond trauma. It renews our mental, spiritual, and physical health. I've seen this in action. I've seen healing through art, through community, through kindness, through generosity, through the revitalization of language, culture, and identity. And while reconciliation and healing has no end date, and it doesn't involve just one act or project, I would like you to remember every act is important, and this act is significant. Chaque acte est important, et cet acte est significant. Significatif. The site selection on Parliament Hill allows as many Canadians as possible the opportunity to see this monument. It represents our history, Canada's true history. So near to the House of Commons, it will serve as a constant reminder to parliamentarians that the policies and laws they create, debate, legislate, and enforce have consequences. They can impact the health and well-being of so many. It is a reminder that we must never again let anyone, not Indigenous people, not anyone, suffer the consequences of racism and inequality, of cruelty and neglect. And there is hope. I see progress being made, even if it seems slow. I see hope in the young people that are with us today, Indigenous and non-Indigenous children honoring and remembering the past. Their generation is the most diverse in Canada's history and the most accepting. We tell them our history so they will never forget our mistakes. In turn, we can learn from them about compassion and inclusion. I also hope to see in the strength of culture, like the performances we saw today, this morning, and the revival of Indigenous languages. As others have spoken their language here today, I am also proud to speak in my own mother tongue, Inuktitut. Tamakwa Nunakasimayu Hatibut, Puyumiangittabut, Pinagluto Tasimaningit, Isumagilugit, Amalu Uhausitinik, Asirigia Hanginitinik, Pinaswaga Halarigatta. Of course, there is hope in this monument, just as there is remembrance, sadness, progress, resilience, and perseverance. This national monument will stand as a tribute to the lost Indigenous children, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. It will stand as a reminder that Indigenous voices are strong, and it stands as another step Canada is taking towards reconciliation. These stories will no longer be denied. They live in each of us as a national commitment, and all Canadians have a responsibility to learn, acknowledge, and act in ways that bring about healing and understanding. I thank the steering committee for their work, as well as all the partners in making this happen. Your actions are showing us how to walk the path of reconciliation. Merci pour votre travail. I cannot wait to return here to this site alongside people from coast to coast to coast to see this monument fully realized and to see this new gathering place for national ceremonies, events, and meaningful anniversaries. As we mark National Indigenous Peoples Day tomorrow, this is the perfect time to celebrate how far we have come together and to look forward with hope to all we will do. The children, those who never had the chance to truly begin their lives would be proud. Thank you. Merci. Nakokmik. Miigwech.
Waiting for my music. Nibili ko kaya may utak tayo nga. Mana nibili ko kaya ayok mat kailaw kang niyak nga momeng niyak tunga man ko ya hutyak tunga kaya ko ya ma kaya ko ilok mat na siyak pagka kaya huk tunga ubla tamani nama. Good morning. My music is not available. Thank you very much for those who invited me to participate in this very important event this morning. So I'm going to demonstrate to you a bit of Akvet. Here it is.
Thank you. Thank you so much to David Sequak from Arviat Nunavut for your beautiful and haunting performance. And as you may have noticed, the Prime Minister and a few members of staff had to depart, and we thank them for their part in today's announcement and this ongoing work, and no disrespect was intended as they exited. And thank you to Your Excellency for your remarks. We acknowledge your previous role as part of the visioning team for this monument, and we sincerely thank you for your presence again today as you bear witness to the early work of our National Monument Steering Committee.
We thank all of you for being here with us today and taking part in this very historic moment.
And now to close the event, I invite Elder Verna de Montenay to lead us in prayer.
Hello, I'm a survivor, Jackie Cote. I just want to say the residential school try to take our languages away. We couldn't speak our language. And today you hear different languages. And I feel so proud that everybody, different languages. We couldn't understand each other, but we understand where we came from. We couldn't even speak English at residential school. And that's why I learned it, but they shut you up. And today I feel free. That's why I says, I'm going up there to say something, because I feel free. Yes, thank you.
Merci for that. That was wonderful. Merci ke kwechi me ko ta petstean ki ko me ek petstean is dat pe wichi we anota. Ma kan I kan not stone na wow. Wat dan ela ter kan I po yak. Pelimod what I ki wikchek. Thank you for inviting me to say the prayer, the closing prayer. I'd just like to recognize the territory that we are standing on and welcome that we received. Thank you for that. With that, I'll do my prayer in my language, which is more fitting, I think. Don't have to stand if you can't. Don't do that. Libuchik kchamarsi utanishtanan ni poyak ema mawitiak ota umaka wish bike chikaki wish bike uma midik chigwego yamaka wish bike these enfants ki kayash kaki begi wechik en stonakash chikanosh buje marsi de tuan parkwana mina mama saterota kani poyak ekstwina kwak Come na marsi de tuan. Livie te kan I pauchek in ke kakskeitegik in ke kakik snama kauyak. Mosomenan kokumenan utaya wakusta ovekianan. Marsi kan mente tawak. Marsi de tuan kakje watashni poyak. Bikiwe yakoman nos skimenan budje. Marsi de tuan ekishaki yak. Eksnamo yak shaki wen. Eksnamo yak skeitamwen. Oste mosomenan kokumenanik kayashche. Utagashni poyan marsi de tuan. Pioke kawi kiwechik. Sa depanta nega witstechik wisto. Bless mami yek shikatawik koyechki wechik. Thank you, Lord. Amen.